If the representatives for Illusion Sports Bar are present, they can take their place at the front table, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the June 23rd, 2026 Clifton Heights Borough Zoning Board hearing to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll do a brief roll call of the board. We want to start to my left.
Catherine Sane.
Your address?
Oh, we
No,
do
we're
that.
not.
Don't
Oh.
have to state it.
Oh, we're not doing that. Oh,
Terrence Smith.
Joseph Lombardo,
Michael Humphreys.
Jennifer Terrell.
John McLean, the attorney.
John Gould, the zoning officer.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our solicitor, John McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, you have two matters on your agenda here for this evening. The first is zoning hearing 2026-02, which is the application of Tinya Melton and Carlette Brooks for the property known as 403 West Baltimore Avenue, operated as Illusions Bar and Restaurant for a variance from the regulations of Clifton Heights Zoning Code 340-61 to allow for larger signage than permitted in the C2 zoning district. As the board members know, this application, actually the hearing was conducted on April the 28th. And at that time, at the end of the hearing, it was continued to allow the applicant to present somebody perhaps from the sign company, because we didn't really have a good graphics or any description or sizes of the proposed signs. So we continued it until this evening's hearing. The second matter you have before you is ZH 2026-03, the application, I'm sorry. ZH 2026-04, which is the application of First Choice Home for the property known as 240 West Windcliff Road, Clifton Heights, PA, seeking variances from section 340-19 of the zoning code to allow for the use of the property not permitted in the R2 residential zoning district, and from section 340-86 governing community residence facilities to allow use as a temporary shelter or residential group home for boys. I do have, Mr. Chairman, a statement, just an opening statement of purpose. There may be people here this evening that are attending their first zoning hearing board meeting or don't have a great idea about what a zoning hearing board does. So this is meant to give you just a thumbnail sketch of what the zoning hearing board does and what the process will be tonight. So each town in Pennsylvania creates rules about how properties can be used by adopting a zoning ordinance or local law. The zoning ordinance creates zoning districts and then creates rules for what types of uses can occur in each district, and the requirement for each of those districts, such as front, side, and rear yard setbacks, how close buildings and things like sheds can be to each other, how high fences can be, how large a sign can be, how many parking spaces are needed, etc. If a property owner wants to use a property in a way not permitted in that zoning district, or wants to vary from the rules, such as building a fence too high or making a sign too big, they may apply to the zoning hearing board for permission to do that. If a property owner makes an application to be heard by the zoning hearing board, that does not mean that the zoning officer, the borough council, or any other public official is in favor of the application or has approved the request. In fact, the opposite is true. The borough zoning officer would have denied the applications being heard tonight as not conforming to the zoning ordinance. That is why the property owners would have made their application or appealed to the zoning hearing board. The purpose of the zoning hearing board is to hear and render decisions upon a variety of matters, including appeals from the determination of the zoning officer, as well as applications for special exceptions and variances from the Clifton Heights zoning ordinance. The board must consider all relevant facts presented by each applicant at the public hearing, as well as the impact of any request for zoning relief on the overall health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board can require stipulations and conditions in connection with approving any special exceptions or variances. The zoning hearing board does not create the zoning ordinances. New ordinances or amendments to the existing zoning ordinance may be adopted at a public hearing by the Borough Council after review and recommendation by both the Clifton Heights and Delaware County Planning Commissions. The zoning hearing board is they call a quasi-judicial interpretive body. It's kind of fancy terms for, they're sort of like, they act like the judge and the jury when hearing this matter. The board is required to conform to basic legal procedures in its hearings, and for that reason, pertinent facts must be presented in an orderly and constrained fashion by both the applicant as well as others wishing to be heard. The process used by the zoning hearing board is somewhat like a court hearing, where witnesses and evidence are presented in an orderly fashion. You'll see that we have a court reporter here, recording everything that is said during the hearing. It is important that the reporter only hears one person at a time speaking. Therefore, please do not shout out or speak over each other. Rest assured, there will be time tonight where everyone will have the opportunity to present whatever they want to the board. The order of the hearing starts with the introduction of exhibits about the notice of the hearing and an explanation of what the applicant is asking for. The applicant then may present its case by presenting witnesses, documents, or other evidence in support of the application. The board and myself may ask the applicant and its witnesses questions. Also present this evening is the borough solicitor, representing the borough government. The borough may take a position for or against the application, and the solicitor may also participate by asking questions, presenting witnesses and documents. When the applicant and the borough have presented everything they wish to present, and when the board has finished its questions, the public may participate. If you are a resident, taxpayer, or have some substantial interest in Clifton Heights Borough, you may comment. You may state that you are for or against the applications and the reasons why. You may ask a question of the applicant or its witnesses, and they may respond if they wish. Members of the public may ask to become a party to the hearing if you have substantial interest in the application, usually meaning that you live within very close proximity to the subject property. Being a party means you can present witnesses and participate in the hearing. If you wish to become a party, I'll ask you to step forward at the beginning. For the first hearing, we've already gone through this, so no one has presented themselves as a party. So, and that part of the hearing's over. For the second hearing that we're dealing with this evening, when we begin that, we'll put a sign-up sheet at the podium if you wish to be a party. Remember, being a party doesn't mean that that's the only way you speak. Being a party means that you would present witnesses, present evidence, present documents if you wanted to, cross-examine witnesses and that sort of thing. Anybody that is a resident, a taxpayer, or has a substantial interest in Clifton Heights may comment and tell the board their opinion for, against, or just ask questions to the applicant without becoming a party. Once all the evidence has been heard by the board, we will close the record in the case, meaning stop taking evidence. The board may then deliberate in private, just like a jury at a trial. The board may decide the cases here this evening at the end of the hearing, or if the board feels like it needs more time to consider the evidence and deliberate, come back at a future date to render a decision. Decisions by the board are required to be made at a regularly scheduled or special public meeting held within 45 days of the date of the close of the hearing in this matter. While all decisions are made at public meetings, no additional testimony or evidence by the applicant or the public will be presented in any hearing subsequent to the close of the record and the evidence in the hearing. So that gives you a thumbnail sketch about how we proceed, what the zoning board does, and how it will be conducted this evening. So as you said, Mr. Chairman, we have the first matter involving illusions. We see the applicants and the witnesses are here this evening. So again, we have heard substantial evidence in this case. The board did in April, and we came back tonight to give the applicants the opportunity to present additional evidence, particularly relating to the size of the signs, what they're going to look like, and those sorts of things. And if you wanted to present somebody from the sign company or the designer to come and testify. We do have a couple of housekeeping items in regards to the re-advertisement. So again, exhibits B, 1, 2, and 3 were introduced the last time. You remember the notices in the paper and that sort of thing. So we re-advertised, did it again. So exhibit B4 will be the proof of publication in the Delaware County Daily Times. Again, this matter was advertised again on June 9th and June 16th, 2026, as well as B4 being the posting. Mr. Gould, was property posted for this hearing? And if so, do you have photos of that?
Yes, I do. It was posted personally by myself on June 10th, 2026. I have a photograph here for you.
So we'll mark that as exhibit B6, or I'm sorry, B5. And then exhibit B6, again, is the public notice itself there. Any questions regarding the notice matter?
No, it's been displayed since the very first one. We never took it down and it constantly displayed. Some people asked about it. I don't know if we might show
Right next to the red light.
No, it's no questions. Like I said, we've had it displayed since the very first one.
Okay.
It's been changed twice, like 3 different notices. So they're very aware. It's been always posted 2 different spaces.
Right.
So yes.
So we'll introduce the B4, B5, and B6. And Mr. Chairman, with that, it would be appropriate to allow the applicants to proceed again and present whatever they want to at this point.
Hello, once again. The last time I was here, you guys had questions about the sizes of everything and how it was going. I had my contractor resubmit the actual signage and everything and all the measurements correctly. So that's what we have now. He made a video explaining the work. John has that
I do, would you like to go to the
because he
video?
wasn't able to make it again.
Does it say?
Excuse me, what is your name?
My name is Tanya Melton,
Nice pronunciation.
Tinya, Tanya Melton, Melton.
The microphone being used.
Yes, it's on. I don't know why.
Yeah, so we'll just try to keep our voices up. The microphones record and they amplify a little bit, but, you know, we'll be there. And they were sworn, you were sworn at the beginning of the last hearing. Just
Yes.
remember that you remain sworn on your testimony here this evening.
Yes.
Would you like me to play the video?
Yes, if you don't mind, John has a video for you guys that probably covers all the questions I didn't.
So kind of to recap, we will have a channel letter sign and a awning that goes on the bottom parts. Right now, the building does have a channel letter sign that we will be removing and replacing with the new one that will look like that. But it will sit in the same space. And those measurements are between 15 feet long and 3 feet tall. Then we have an awning that goes on the front side and it has two corner pieces. All right, so the front side is between 500 inches and 45 inches in height, and then the corner ones are 36 inches long, same thing, 45 in height as well. If we have to make it to 40 inches or 36, that's no problem. You see here has all the details on channel letters, and there it has all the details on awning. Awning is made of aluminum tubing. It has vinyl fabric that is stretched on, and here you can see all the specifications on how everything will be mounted and all that there.
I believe there was a second video you want to play as well.
It was the same video, it was the same, just, and one had more detail.
John, can you scroll
Can we
back
scroll
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, just,
The other way. Oh, okay, you need to go first.
no, it's okay. I just, so they
Just for our
have to
record
change the
purposes, we'll
letter.
mark the video and
As
the
much information
graphics that you're seeing here as A2. A1 was the previous version of those. It wasn't great quality.
Right.
This is much better quality than it was in April. So we'll mark this, the video and these graphics as A2.
So, Ms. Melton, it looks like the new sign is going to be is it going to be the same size as the one that's currently present?
It's similar, yeah, I think it is the same size. I'm not exactly sure of the exact footage, but it's just gonna be placed there. It's gonna go in the same spot. So I think it's just different, like how it is. It's like 2 pieces to 3 pieces on the first one. It's gonna be like one, just the name there, and just the little one piece at the bottom.
I believe in the video, the individual, the designer did say that it was the same footprint as the sign that was up there now.
Yes.
Anybody on the board have any other questions right now?
John, I'd like to ask you a question there.
Sure.
How does it look like, how they're hooking it up? Does it look like it's sturdy, to hold the sign and everything okay that way?
Yeah, we
Like
would-
the bracing, the
Sure.
bracing on the wall?
We would do a full plan review, when they submit the
Okay.
permit, but looking at everything I see here, I don't have any concerns with
Okay.
the attachment.
All right.
Any other questions? Anyone? So, Mr. Solicitor, would it be advisable for us to adjourn for 10 minutes, or are we going to render our decision on both of these at the end of the meeting?
Well,
Or-
let's do this. Have a quick list meeting. So you have what you just presented. Is there anything further that you want to present? Any verbal testimony or any other documents that you want to present to the board?
Just that our previous sign that we had removed is just pretty much as big as that. Like, and then we had the variance for the one that we replaced for the sign that was already there. And it's just like, you know, the only thing added is the very front, the bottom part. So I don't really see it standing out too much or anything. I just want to, you know,
That's the original
upgrade.
sign that was when
I
they bought the
remember that,
place.
yeah.
I just want to upgrade a little bit, makes it, you know, keep it nice because, you know, it's been 10 years. We haven't had anything done. And I want to just keep, you know,
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
look presentable, basically. It's our main goal.
And Mr. Chairman, so if you don't have any further evidence, it would be proper for, to recognize the borough solicitor to see whether they have anything to present on behalf of the borough.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. I only have a couple quick questions. Would you be willing to, if the board were open to approving this application, would you be willing to commit to a condition that the footprint of the new sign, specifically the illusions, would be limited to the same footprint as the current sign?
Be the exact same size.
Yes. Okay. And then my second question is, I believe in the video, I heard your designer state that the pieces could go from 45 inches to 40 or 36. So do you have any information on if you're asking for the least amount of variance needed? Or is this kind of what you were hoping to get and you're open to reducing that lower portion, the awning portion in size, pursuant to what your designer mentioned he could feasibly do?
I would like that, but if feasibly, if we have to alter it for, you know, what we mentioned, I mean, I guess as long as he could do it, you know, I'm fine with it. That's what you guys would want us to do.
And then, final question, is there any consideration to reducing the amount of words or verbiage on the sign?
Well, that's one of the main things is just because Illusions, we've been here for 10 years. I meet people every day who don't know what Illusion does. And I think that we are a great asset to the community because we host things that people just don't know, that they have somebody right in their backyard that will host certain events. So my main thing was to be able to get the word out, the signage, to be able, because we have a lot of traffic. And ain't too much traffic for them not to know what we are. We've been here for 10 years, and it's crazy that we still meet people every day from this area that just don't know what Illusions is. So, I mean, if it's a problem, I guess I would have to. I mean, at this point, whatever we could get, you know, is what, you know, I mean, every single word don't have to be on there, but, you know, mainly the fact that what we are and what we do.
Understood. So if it were to say something like event space, party rental, instead of listing each individual, like wedding, I'm sorry, I'm straining to see the church events, instead of listing each individual event, you kind of see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. That could definitely be altered, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then just, I'm so sorry to the board, one last question. Could you just clarify for the record the lighting portions? What's going to be lit up or backlit versus what's not?
LED. We have lights in the bag already. It's LED lighting.
Okay, so everything, the
It's going to
illusion
be in the bag, illuminated, just illuminated.
Okay. That's all I have.
So, Mr. Chairman, if the borough doesn't have anything further, it would be appropriate at this time to entertain any public comment on the application.
So do we have anyone here this evening that would like to comment on this matter? Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you please come to the podium, use the microphone, and please give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Baylor. This is not meant to be a negative comment since I did not attend any previous meetings about this. Kind of asking if it could be dumbed down a little bit. in comparison to what is the biggest change? Is the size going to be bigger? Is the lighting going to be bigger, brighter? I would just like to know if someone could compare apples to apples for us, because I think a lot of us were not here in the past.
I think, Mr. Chairman, there's two signs that you see depicted. The one that says Illusions up top.
She can't say she's visually
Okay, I'm
impaired.
sorry. There's one sign, the main sign that indicates Illusions is, currently it is a 60 square foot sign.
Okay.
There was a variance that was obtained in 2016 to allow to go from 30 feet to 60 feet. So that current sign, I believe, is 60 square feet, and they're proposing to make it no larger than that. The man on the video said 15 by 3, which would only be 45 square feet. But they're asking to propose no larger than the 60 square feet. The awning sign would be new, and all of that, again, would be in excess of what would be permitted. So that's what they're asking for, is to replace the existing sign at the same size, but also add signage on the awning that exists there for the length of the building.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment regarding this?
Hi, my name is Laura Barrett. I live at 18 West Windcliff. The top portion illusions with the new sign, that'll be illuminated. And the bottom long one, that is vinyl.
Yes.
So you'll have background lighting in that. Is it like the tube lighting that will illuminate it? Like what part of the new lower awning, if it's vinyl, how are you illuminating that?
I believe it's top lit.
It's top lit with the bulbs down on it?
It has, from
Got
the
it.
picture that we see, it has arms that come out with lights on them that
Gotcha.
shine down. Yes.
Gotcha. And is there any stipulations to not being able to change that sign once it's up there? Like the whole thing would have to be redone? There's no, like covering up or, you know what I'm saying? Like if anything changes on that, are we gonna cover it up and put new verbiage on it without approval, or is what's up there gonna stay up there?
Well, I believe the sign is permanent. So it's not something where you can change the letters on it or anything
Okay.
like that. If they wanted to change the sign, they'd have to change the whole
thing.
sign.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
All right, that's it, thank you.
sure.
To clarify that, in the event a new business would come in, they would also have to apply for zoning for a new sign.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment regarding this matter? No?
So with that, Mr. Chairman, we'll close the record in this matter. We'll admit exhibits A1 and A2, as well as the exhibits B1 through B6. And it's up to the pleasure of the board whether you wanted to deliberate now regarding this or wait until the end of the evening after the second hearing to
Your
deliberate.
pleasure.
I say no.
Okay.
No.
We'll take a 10-minute recess, ladies and gentlemen.
I will ask everybody to turn off the microphone, please be mindful we're still live on.
And I
So I'd rather it rain. It's harder to do.
Wait for John to go.
Just a matter of housekeeping before we get started. There were several concerns that people can't hear us, so please make sure the microphone is close to you and turned on.
Thank you.
There you go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll reconvene the June 23rd, 2026 Clifton Heights Borough Zoning Hearing Board meeting. I will ask a member of the board, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. We are going to affirm the 60-foot sign, the replacement, and we are going to deny the awning.
Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So basically, what we're saying is we're approving the new signage of the existing sign on that exact same footprint, but denying the secondary sign which wraps around the front of the building.
So we'll send out a written decision. We'll mail that out tomorrow from my office.
Okay. So is.
Can I ask a question? Sure.
What is the reason that you're denying the awning sign?
You want me to answer that?
Sure.
So the reason is the square footage. So you already have a variance going from 30 square feet to 60 square feet. So this would be an additional, John, how many square feet on top of that?
Well, yeah, 500 inches by 45 inches.
41.6 square, that was a 41.6.
Another 41 square feet of signage. So
Triple that, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it would be another almost 120 square feet.
120 square feet of
on top of the
signage.
60 square feet that exists there now.
So that being the reason.
So is there any other, like, could we do like a smaller on it, like on towards the end, like on the inside where the restaurant is, just say Soul Food Restaurant over, do something like that? As the illusions just says, it's just illusions and it will be right back at the same place. Nobody knows what illusions is.
That's going to be something you're going to have to discuss with Mr. Gould.
Okay.
Yeah, you can rethink that, and if you want to try to redesign it with something smaller, or again, because really it's with another 120 square feet on top of 60. I mean, you'd be at 400% of what the borough allows in the zoning ordinance, and I think that the board members just thought that was too excessive. There have been applications in the past, by other businesses along Baltimore Pike, along Springfield, to try to get larger signage, and I think the zoning board has made reasonable accommodations, but I just, as you heard, really, 400% is just too much. I think they believe.
Understood.
So if you want to consider something smaller, less busy, I think, again, it's the board members, but my perception is it's very cluttered. Something smaller, simpler. Discuss that and then come back to see the zoning hearing board members again with that application.
Can I ask you a question, please? Okay, so, if we can't do the awning sign, is there any way that we can put something on the side of the building saying what illusions is? Something like that not an awning sign, but just a sign. Not that big.
Because we have an interest on the other side. We have an interest on the other side that actually enters into our banquet facility.
Yeah.
Do we do signage there?
Well, again, the board can't design it for you or say that's what you're up to. If you kind of want to rethink it and come back with perhaps a smaller design, talk to Mr. Gould, talk to your elected representatives in the borough, about what, sometimes, you have that communication, about what might be reasonable, that might work out better for you. But again, I don't know what the answer is. You're at 200% of what you're permitted right now. You were asking to go to 400%. I don't know if there's a right number in there somewhere, but again, a lot of times if you maybe make a smaller application and speak some more with the borough about, get their feedback, about people say, but I think that the feedback from this is it's just too big and too much going on for what you're proposing here. Whether something smaller, less cluttered, people would look at it and say, okay, well, that fits in better.
Right.
That's something you have to look at in the future.
Understood.
Thank you, ladies.
Let me just ask one more question. It's not it's the verbiage. If we had the rep, because he without.
It's the square
It's
footage.
the square footage of the
Yes.
whole rep. Okay, 'cause I just was replacing because we had a hangover, and I was just trying to figure out. Okay, so we wouldn't be nothing without the hangover. Okay, understood.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for.
Have a good evening.
You too.
John, can you put this on the podium there? Yes. Mr. Chairman, may I introduce the next matter?
Yes, Mr. Solicitor.
The members of the board, the second matter on your agenda is application number 2026-04. Again, this is the application of First Choice Home for the property known as 240 West Windcliff in Clifton Heights, seeking variances from section 340-19 of the zoning code to allow for use of the property not permitted in the R2 zoning, residential zoning district, and from section 340-86 governing community residence facilities to allow use as a temporary shelter or residential group home for boys. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, this notice of this hearing and what I just read were advertised in the Delaware County Daily Times on June 9th and 16th, 2026. We would mark that proof of publication as Exhibit B1. And then, Mr. Gould, were these matters posted at or was the notice posted at the property?
Yes, sir, they were. I posted them personally on June 10th, 2026.
Okay, and did you take photographic evidence of that?
Yes, I did.
All right, so we will mark that photo of the posting as Exhibit B2, and then Exhibit B3 would be the public notice, again, that I read and that was distributed to the residents in that direct area. Is the applicant present this evening? Please sit down.
I believe we just need a second to set up some of the techno.
Yep, do that. And while the applicant's getting set up, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, as I indicated, if you, as a member of the public, if you believe you have a substantial interest in this matter, and that typically means you live very close to the applicant property, and if you wish to seek party status from the board, you may do so. We would ask that you just give us your name, address, and email on the form that's on the podium. And once again, you don't have to be a party in order to comment or express your opinion or ask questions about this. Typically, a party status would be somebody that would be represented and present evidence and witnesses and expert witnesses and cross-examine and that sort of thing. But if you wish to seek party status, please come forward and just give us your name, address, and email, and we'll ask you a couple questions to see whether you qualify as a party.
Mr. Tall, will you turn your microphone on there, please? Thank you.
It's not on.
I don't understand what you mean by party status.
Mhm. Okay, so there's two ways that the public can participate in a zoning hearing. Number one is just as a member of the public, if you, again, as I said, live in Clifton Heights, taxpayer, have an interest in Clifton Heights. At the end of the meeting, just like you saw in the previous one, we'll ask the public to comment. And at that point in time, you can tell the board whether you're for the application, against it, don't have an opinion or just want to ask some questions about it, you're free to do that. And that'll all be on the record, taken down by the court reporter, and the board would consider anything that the public would have to say. The second way is sort of an enhanced way, is if you have, as they call it, a very substantial interest, meaning typically it's somebody that lives next door within a few doors of the property. Okay, well, 3 doors away would probably qualify. If you wanted to be a party, again, that would allow you heard the borough solicitor ask questions. You'd be able to do that, give testimony, present witnesses, or present documentary evidence or anything like that. Again, it's something, it's being more involved, I'll call it, in the hearing. That's what you would get as party status. Mhm. So if there's no one that's seeking party status, Mr. Chairman, we can defer. We do have the borough solicitor here this evening, Ms. Newell. Does the borough wish to participate as a party in this matter? So the borough will be able to present witnesses, ask questions, all those types of things to protect the interests of the public.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. So would it be appropriate for Mr. Tall to be sworn in?
Yes. How many witnesses do you have here this evening?
3.
Great. So why don't all those witnesses, if you could just give your names for the court reporter, and we'll swear everybody in together.
I'm Hassan Tall.
Spell your first name, please.
H as in hotel, ASSAN. Last name Tall, TALL.
Katiana Caesar, KATHIANA, last name CESAR.
Abin Kaba, KAB as in boy, INE, last name is K as in king, A as in apple, B as in boy, A as in apple.
Okay, and if you all raise your right hands, please. You solemnly swear or affirm. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Mr. Solicitor, will be appropriate at this point for the applicant to present their case?
Well, good evening, everyone. We're very happy to be here. And John, thanks for the opportunity to have spoken with you regarding the appeal process. We are First Choice Home and Community Services, and we'd like to take a few minutes to introduce ourselves, let you know what we do and what we intend to do in the Clifton Heights Borough. First, we just want to introduce our values, our mission, and our vision. That is our guiding principle. We are very committed to ensuring integrity, collaboration, awareness, diversity, commitment, and excellence. And our mission is providing children a stable and nurturing environment that is safe, culturally diverse, that promotes foster partnerships that will elevate children to their fullest physical, mental, and emotional development. Our vision is to create a vibrant community where children are nurtured, cherished, safe, and all their needs are met unconditionally. First Choice Home and Community Services is a child welfare agency that is registered in the state of Pennsylvania. We were incorporated in 2014. We currently have our head office in Sharon Hill on Chester Pike. We have a satellite office on Grant Avenue in Philadelphia County. And we have a group home, a residential facility for boys in Collindale. We are licensed to operate foster care and group home and residential facilities in the state of Pennsylvania. We contract with several counties in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia County, which is our biggest contractor, and we have smaller contracts with Luzerne, Berks, Cox, and Lancaster, Columbia, and Somerset counties. Our team, we have our CEO. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. He should have been at the first scheduled hearing, and unfortunately, things did happen, and we couldn't be here to present our case. And to those who are bereaved, we extend our deepest sympathy for your loss. We have Mr. Abdul Tall, who's the President and CEO. I am the CFO and Vice President for Administration. Fatu Jackson, our Intake Director. Ms. Katiana Caesar, our Operations Director. Mr. Kabin Kaba, who sits behind me, he's our Residential Director. And Mr. Eric Stolazzi, he's our Senior Case Manager. Our current operations, we operate a foster care program for children ages 1 to 18, and we can continue to provide services up to the age 21 once we have an approved older youth extension on file. We currently have 60 homes in our program, homes that are certified to operate foster care programs. Delaware County, we have 26 homes. Philadelphia County, we have 28 homes. Montgomery County, 5 homes. In Clarion County, we have a home in Clarion County. Currently, we have 115 children in care, and our average length of stay, that is from the time the child comes into the program and they leave, the average is 2 years. We also operate a group home in Collindale. It is referred to as the Beachwood Residential Facility. It's an all-boys facility. Again, the age range is 13 to 18 years, with an extension to provide services up to 21 years of age once we have an older youth extension. The facility is set up for a 10-bed facility for boys only. It's a 24-hour operations, and our average length of stay is 6 months. From the time they come in, we find kinship placements, we transition them out of the program. So what we propose to do in Clifton Heights, we have submitted an application a few months ago to operate 240 West Wincliffe Avenue as an interim intervention facility. First choice, to provide residential treatment designed to address the special needs of children with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Youth served may be functional level of moderate to profound intellectual disability, as well as additional mental and physical disabilities, which may result from cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, autism, rubella syndrome, and in some cases, general brain damages. Our current facility, we have 2 youth that are autistic, and they are doing fantastically well in that program. So the structure for what we propose to do in Clifton Heights is a 4-bed facility to serve, again, the age population will be 13 to 18, with a possibility to extending to 21 years. It's also going to be a 24-hour operations. We're going to run 3 shifts, 8 hours per day, 3 shifts. And our staffing will be 2 staff per shift. Just a little background on what a group home is. A group home care is a short-term intervention which provides a structured, supportive place to live. When youth is placed, reunification with families or permanency options become the goal. In the foster care system, one of the primary things that is required is to ensure that the child is placed with either family, referred to as kinship, or a long-term facility that is designed to take care and meet the needs of the child. The group is designed to meet the needs of youth who are unable to live in family-based settings. It provides 24-hour, 7 days a week care and supervision to youth. Youth ages 13 to 21 who cannot safely remain in their homes or in family-based care settings often experience instability in their life, trauma, disrupted education, which is very important, and limited access to supportive relationships. Group home is designed to achieve the safety, stability, permanency, and the well-being. For example, their physical well-being, their behavioral health, their educational well-being, recreational activities, and relational needs for each youth. It teaches basic living skills, the life skill which is very important, such as cooking, cleaning, money management, personal care, and it helps build better communication skills. The group home ensures the ongoing youth development of age-appropriate preparation for youth to strive to maintain health and strong connections to the youth's family, the school, and the community. Without quality trauma-informed group home care, youth they have an increased risk of poor permanency outcomes, disconnection from family and community, academic disengagement, as well as long-term emotional and developmental harm. There's a critical need for safe, affirming, culturally responsive, and family-driven residential environment that stabilize youth, strengthen family connections, promote healthy development, and support timely permanency. A group home has some benefits, and the benefit to the community, it creates communities where people of different abilities and backgrounds live together and contribute to society. This helps promote diversity and inclusion. There's also increased interaction between residents and community members, which can help improve the understanding and acceptance of people with mental health conditions or other supported needs. This helps reduce stigmatization. Group homes create jobs for caregivers, support workers, and other professionals while supporting businesses. Because most times when we recruit, we tend to recruit from within the community so that we have easy access of staff to the facility. That is a benefit to the community. Residents often participate in schools, faith groups, volunteer activities, recreational programs, enriching community life. This helps strengthen the collaboration bond between the youth with special needs and the community. In closing, this facility is more than just a group home. It is the place of hope, healing, and opportunity. Every child deserves a safe, supportive environment where they can grow, succeed, and feel valued. We are committed to being responsible neighbors and look forward to partnering with this community to make a positive and lasting difference in youth development. Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference within your community.
Do you have, before we'll turn it over to questions, Mr. Tall, do you have any further testimony at this point?
No, sir.
Mr. Chairman, it'd be proper to recognize the borough solicitor for any cross-examination of the witness.
Ms. Solicitor, any
And I guess
questions?
just
to
as
the
a
presentation?
housekeeping item, for the record, we just watched a slideshow presentation. Why don't we mark that as Exhibit A1? Do you happen to have a hard copy of that? There you go. Way to go. Thank you.
Before the solicitor asks any questions, do the other two folks that were sworn in have anything to say, or do we want to?
Well, I think we'll go witness by witness.
Understood, understood. Ms. Solicitor?
Thank you. I want to start out by asking a clarifying question. So initially, this was presented as like a temporary shelter for youth. Is that still what this technically is, a temporary shelter?
It's going to be temporary, and in most cases, we have the folks in Philadelphia County, for example, which we deal with mainly. Once the child is placed, they are looking also for alternate placements, normally with family members, because they like to do a kinship placement, keep the family together. And that takes a process, because once they identify a family, they have to go through all the clearance processes to ensure that the child is going to be placed into a very safe home.
And are any of these youths delinquent or adjudicated youths?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, it depends.
Well, hold on. If we can ask him that question later. We're trying to keep it so that we don't pass around witnesses.
Okay.
So if you know the answer to it, you can answer. If not, you can defer to the witness in the future.
And will all of the youths be disabled?
No,
Will any of the youths have cars at any point?
no,
In your application, you reference ages 14 to 18, and then on your presentation, you reference up to age 21. Can you please clarify the age?
the regulation is 13 to 18, and up to 21 if they have an extension.
So technically 14 to 21 possibly.
That's correct.
And how many youths are going to be in this home?
4.
And what's your staffing ratio?
What we intend to do is to have two staff per shift. So we
And-
have six staff for a 24-hour shift.
So 6 staff over a 24-hour shift. How many parking spaces does the property currently have?
1.
And where would the additional staff members park?
It depends if they have a car. If they don't, if they do have a car, one is gonna park in the back and the other can park in front of the other car in the back.
And have you measured that?
No, but we've seen others park and the road is still accessible.
And I assume the youths are never left alone.
No,
So during a shift change, that means that you would have upwards of 4 staff at a single time.
yeah, during the first probably 15, 20 minutes.
And where would those additional staff park?
Well, probably they might find temporary parking along the road. It's only 15, 20 minutes to change shift.
Okay, so they would find temporary parking, go into the house, and then leave to move the cars?
That's correct.
Then who would be watching these?
All four will not leave at the same time. They can organize in a way that they can do it two at a time.
And I noticed your application references mental retardation.
I'll defer that to the next.
Do all of your staff have certification?
Yeah, no. We are not certified. The regulation requires that the caregivers are high school graduates. And we have the director who has a master's in social work.
And do all employees have clearances?
Yes, we run all of the background checks. So we do child abuse, criminal, and the FBI.
From what it sounds like, you have some sort of program that runs in your facility. I'll clarify the question.
Correct.
Your presentation talks about a supportive, nurturing environment, providing for every need of a child who may or may not have special needs, correct?
That's correct.
So who is implementing that program?
So we have, when the staff comes in, we have training programs by the director of the program who is certified, and he provides training, and those staff will implement what is taught during the process with the supervision of the director.
Certified in what again? What's the certification? The
No.
supervisor?
He has a master's in social work with extensive experience from Wood Services, over 20 years with Wood Services.
And did you review zoning requirements prior to the purchasing of the property?
No.
Is there any unique condition with this property that would prohibit you from utilizing it as a single-family home?
It's not. I don't think, no.
So why are you looking for a group home?
Well, like I indicated earlier, we are licensed by the state to operate group home facilities. We currently run one in the Collindale borough. So we are expanding our operations, and we thought Clifton Heights would be one of the areas that we can come in, work, and collaborate with the community.
And how many children are you having per room?
The biggest room has 2, and the others, we have 1 room.
And where will staff be?
We have in the upper level, in the living area, we have 1 staff, and we have an office in the basement.
Do you happen to have photos of the inside of the home?
No, I do not have photos with me. I think John might be able to pull that up.
It's okay, Mr. Gould. Is there any prohibition or any reason that you're aware of why this home, it's a row home, but Wood House typically is single family, why it could not continue to operate as a single family dwelling? Is there any prohibitive expenses or anything of that nature that would disallow the current use to continue?
No.
And if the group home is not approved, would the home be rendered valueless? Is this a building that cannot be used in any other manner?
No, we'll have to find an alternate use for the facility.
And I know that your presentation referenced being collaborative and being good neighbors, correct?
Yeah.
Have you talked to any of your neighbors prior to coming here tonight?
No, not personally. And when we talk about collaboration, we operate in other counties and other boroughs. which we have had very good working relationships. Currently in Sharon Hill, we work directly with the borough, and we've partnered with them in several different programs. And we look forward to doing the same, and I assume the community will be willing to help transform the lives of children. So
And your operation in Sharon Hill, are you running a group home in Sharon Hill?
no, we have a couple of foster homes, and we have our head office in Sharon.
Are there other group homes to your knowledge in the vicinity of your current application?
No, no idea.
And you do not contract with Delaware County?
No, we do not have any contracts with Delaware County. We've tried several times to contract, but we haven't been very successful.
Just to clarify for the record, to your knowledge, there's no unique physical conditions with this property individually that would require a change in use or a change in variance or an allowance of a variance to operate it.
There's nothing.
In your application, you reference children with autism and services to autistic youth. Are all of the children who are going to be proposed to be in this group home going to be children identified with autism?
No.
And you also state that in your application that it would not, your proposed use would not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Can you please explain how a group home would not alter the essential character of a residential neighborhood?
Well, good. That's a very good question. In some facilities, depending on the nature of the children that are placed in those homes, you might have children that come from the juvenile justice system with behavioral issues, and it becomes challenging sometimes. Even with the foster care system as well, we sometimes have those challenges. So what we are looking at in accepting the referrals from the county, we are going to be very discreet in who we accept into the home. So we are looking more towards, because not all of the children that homes have been looked for are autistic. Not all of them have developmental disabilities. So we're going to be very strategic in how we approach the recruitment of children for the home.
So some children may be coming into the home with no disabilities. at
That's
all.
correct, yeah.
You reference here behavioral impairments. What do you mean by behavioral impairments?
Sometimes there are challenges with the children based on where they've come from. They do misbehave, not only to staff, but even in the schools. And we have to face those challenges with the school system, within the community. Basically, that's the reference.
And what's the referral process like? How do children come from a system in Philadelphia to you? Could you walk us through what that would look like?
Right. Since we are contracted with the city, the county, once they have children they are looking for placement for, they do give us a call. We have an intake department. We call the intake department, and then we refer, if it's a placement that requires a group home setting, because sometimes you look at a referral, it might be for a foster home, but if it requires a group home setting, then we refer the referral to the residential director. He reviews it, look at several different factors within the referral, such as behavior, school attendance, if there were prior placements. And then we make an informed decision based on the information within the referral. The child may not exhibit everything necessary in the referral, But our initial judgment is based on what's in the referral, and our decision is made by that. So we either accept or reject the placement.
Looking at your application again, and it references that it will be staffed with 2 members at all times, but there will also be a program supervisor available 24 hours. Would that program supervisor be on site, or would they just be available via phone?
They are available 8 hours during the day. They're going to be available at the office, and their phone is on a touch dial, and they are available once they are called.
Seeing as you will most likely have at least some children with some level of need, are any of your staff properly trained in safety cares training or proper restraint protocol for students or children or having behaviors that require that?
Yes, they do undergo during our orientation process. They go straight through all of those trainings, and in addition, they are required to be CPR and CPR certified, so that they can address any emergency situations.
That's all I have for this witness.
Thank you, Ms. Solicitor.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if there's any members of the board that have any questions for the witness.
I have a question. On your narrative document, you specifically mentioned that the Pennsylvania state staff ratio is 1:8, but that your group home would be above and beyond that at 2:4. Is there a reason that these youth may need additional or such a low ratio of staffing?
Well, we can perform to the requirement, which is 1:8, but we can go above and beyond the requirement, which is acceptable. We cannot go below the requirement. So since we have cases where there are disabilities, there might be issues, and one of the staff might be unavailable because they might take a child maybe to the emergency room. So we will still have someone on duty until a replacement can come in.
Thank you. I have additional staffing questions, if that's okay. Is that?
Go ahead, keep going.
I was just curious, not knowing how large the organization is and how many staff you have overall, do you have any sense of what your retention numbers are with staffing?
Yes, with the group home, we've had about 50% of our staff that have been on board since we started with foster care, the group home portion. With regards to the other 50, we have some on an on-call basis. So because of that, when they find better opportunities, they tend to go. So the average is looking at about six to 8 months with regards to the remaining 50. But the utilization is very minimal.
Thank you. The staffing that you have in the group home, is it mandated for staff to remain if other staff don't, for example, show up on time, or if they're running late or they have an emergency? What does your overage staffing look like?
So they have to wait until they have a replacement, because they have to update the staff that is taking over on any issues or things that they might need to pay attention to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other board member have a question?
I have a question. It might seem funny or saying it's a group home, but you're going to be doing any, like, can I say, outpatient out of that home where you might have an outside child come in for a while? Would you be bringing other outside children in during the day and then releasing them maybe to another group home? Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you going to bring like outpatients or out children that might be in your program but might not be at that home?
No.
No. That would just strictly be the four residents in there. You're not going to be bringing anybody else in, then taking them back to another home or
No,
whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay, that answers the question.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add some clarifying questions, I think, just to try to.
Go ahead, Mr.
clean some
Simpson.
up. Mr. Toll, you're the owner of the property itself, right?
Yes.
And do you have a lease with First Choice Home and Community Services Inc. for the property?
Yes.
Okay. Is that, I mean, we haven't gotten that submitted. Is that something that you could submit to Mr. Gould as a supplementary item?
Yes,
Just to establish standing for your requests?
We can
Okay.
do that.
And then just to clarify on some of the referral services or how children get referred here, to try to understand, because there's been some testimony for everything from, children with no developmental needs or disabilities all the way to profound needs. So we're trying to get a sense of, what types of residents might be in the home there. For your referral, does, like, for instance, in the city of Philadelphia, does it come from Child Protective Services?
It comes from DHS directly, the Child Welfare Office.
Okay. And is that the Child Protective Services portion of there, or what we call Delaware County CYS?
That's correct.
Okay. So these are children that may have been, are found by the courts to be dependent.
In some cases, yes.
Okay. And then are there, besides dependent children, and I realize I think you were going to defer, in regards to any children there might have been adjudicated delinquent. Besides dependent children from the juvenile court system in Philadelphia, are there other types of children that get referred by other DHS, such as MHMR in Philadelphia?
No.
So is it all then coming from Child Protective Services in Philadelphia?
That's correct.
So it's at least, so the only ones you get referred to in Philadelphia are the ones that are dependent.
Correct.
Right. And you indicated that there's been different time periods you've indicated about the average. I think some of the slideshow material said one said 2 years, and another was a certain number of months.
6 months.
Six
Says 8
months.
months.
Yeah.
And
So-
then in your application materials, it would be a maximum of 8 months.
Well, the 2 years refers to the foster care program, which is different from the residential group home program.
Okay.
The residential group home program's average, and that's what we said, average length of stay is 6 months. It could go 8 months, it could go 10 months, it could be 4 months. But over the period, when we do our statistical review, we realize that it's averaging 6 months.
All right. So are these children that are initially placed as dependent? In other words, it's before they get to a foster home?
Well, sometimes they cannot find foster homes for them because the foster parents are not willing to take those children. Yes, we do accept them. And in some instances, they do come from foster home. We've had cases where they come from foster home into the group home facility.
And so they may have been removed from a foster home for some reason.
Definitely, yes.
Right. In some of those circumstances, are they removed because of the youth's behavior? Or
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no.
okay.
Yeah. For example, we have an instance where the foster parent was relocating, and the easiest and closest placement we had was a group home. So he was able to transition from foster home to group home.
So certainly,
So it was not behavioral.
if foster parents move from Pennsylvania to California, those children need to be placed somewhere else.
That's correct.
if
Unless if they want to take the children with, they can do it. They can take the children. Yeah. But it's a whole different process.
Right. And then you may have children being removed from a foster home that exhibit some type of bad behaviors, such as sexually abusive behavior towards other residents in that foster home. That
That's
occurs
correct.
sometimes.
Yes.
And you would get children that in that situation, those are the types of kids that come out of the foster home, perhaps be placed.
And that's why in the referral process, we review all of the concerns in the referral, we discuss it, and we make sure that, because we do not want this to destabilize the placement with the current home, so we make informed decision based on those. If they are child with sexual issues, we cannot bring him. If he's, let's assume, molested boys, we cannot bring him into a group home facility. It's not a good fit. So we will not accept the placement.
Would it just be boys, or if it was girls, that might be perhaps permissible because there's no other girls in the house?
Not necessarily, no, not necessarily.
Okay.
If we do not,
And the same would be in terms of removal from a foster home. Children misbehave in terms of committing criminal acts. And so that would be the type that might be removed from a foster home and placed in this type of facility, this type of home.
well, sometimes yes. But again, I will come back to the referral process. We review it, and criminal behaviors, we tend not to accept them. In fact, in our current facility, we do not have any of those children that have serious criminal behaviors.
Right.
And delinquency, yes, they do have.
And it probably hasn't escaped your attention that immediately behind your property, they're building a brand new school.
I saw that.
Yeah. Do you have, it would obviously be a concern if there were children with sexual issues or criminal issues being placed at this property, again, where there would be similarly aged children in the middle school behind them. Would you agree with that?
I do.
Yeah. Now, for the children that would be in the property, in the home, with MHMR issues or with autism or those types of things, do they receive any type of outpatient treatment? In other words, do counselors, doctors, medical professionals come to the group home to meet with the children?
Not medical professionals. We have the child advocates, the lawyers. They do come in to assess the needs, assess the well-being. We have what we call the community umbrella agency, the core agencies from Philadelphia County. They do also visit the children. They are like the case managers for those children. So those are the only two groups that actually come into the home to visit.
Okay, so there would be no psychiatrists or psychologists that would come to the home to provide any services?
They will be taken to those facilities.
I'm sorry?
They will be taken to those facilities.
Okay,
The youth will be
children
taken.
taken there. So the universe of people that would visit besides your staff are the guardians ad litem for the children, right?
Yeah.
Presumably the CPS workers and their supervisors may come to visit with the children at the home?
Yes, in most cases, just the case manager and the child advocate.
And family members would, based upon whatever the court,
If it's court
rules
mandated,
are,
yeah.
may visit with the child there.
Yeah.
And if the child was adjudicated delinquent, their probation officer would also be able to come and visit?
That's correct.
And those people would be there at the same time as the staff.
That's correct.
So there may be, in addition to the two staff, maybe one or two other people there during presumably daytime hours.
That's correct.
And I think that's all the questions I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. So at this juncture, will we have our second witness?
Yeah, you next witness. So you've been sworn. Why don't you, just for the record, give us your name again?
Kabin Kaba.
Please proceed.
Just back to, we were talking about the outpatient here, we do have cases that do go out for.
Hold that microphone up close.
We do have cases that go out for therapies. I know you were asking the questions if there's any outpatient services they get.
Okay.
Yes, we do have cases that do have outpatient therapies on a weekly basis.
How do you transport those kids?
We have our van. We have a van that we do transport them.
You have a van.
Yes.
And where is that van kept?
Well, at the Beechwood property now, we have a space where the van is parked. When we have the van available just 24 hours in case of any emergency.
So why don't you present any testimony that you want to supplement the
No.
testimony, and then we'll go again, same thing. We'll have the borough solicitor ask any questions, the board members,
I
and,
think he covered basically everything. I don't think I have anything to add on.
okay. So if you don't have any further testimony, we'll turn to the borough solicitor for any questions.
Thank you. Just a couple quick questions. I know that we talked about delinquent youth. When I initially asked the question, it was deferred. Could you explain whether or not the youths that will be housed in the proposed group home facility may be delinquent or adjudicated youths?
Sometimes, yes.
And what's the security like at the facility?
Well, with the program we run now, we have cameras. We have cameras outside and inside the home, except for the bedrooms, but we have cameras in the hallways, and we have cameras in the front and the back and the side of the home.
And the van that has been referenced, is that permanently parked at the home in Collindale?
That's correct.
And how far is that home in Collindale to this proposed location?
I think probably 8 minutes, 15 minutes.
So is that van what would be used for like an emergency situation if a child needed to be transported to a hospital?
Well, with that would be something that we will have to look into if we had to have another van available just for that one.
And I had previously asked some questions about staff and certifications. The program or the style setting that you're creating, could you please discuss the training that your staff receives prior to implementing the program to meet students and children's individual needs to, I believe your word was, their utmost need?
So once the staff is being hired, we got a process that they have to go through, training process. They're gonna be trained CPR, first aid, behaviors. We have a full list of training that every staff have to go through during the training process after hire.
Do you happen to have a copy or any list of the trainings that would be required?
I have it, but I don't have it here. But yes, we do have.
And to your knowledge, did you talk to any of the neighbors?
No.
Do you know if anyone discussed the proposed facility with your local neighbors?
Not that I'm aware of.
And just one last follow-up question. There's a lot of discussion throughout the application regarding autism, regarding behavior, and regarding mental retardation. Could you clarify exactly what you are looking for when you're getting these referrals? Are you prioritizing children with needs? Are you prioritizing children with autism? The term mental retardation has been out of date since, I believe, the late 90s, early 2000s, and is now intellectual disability. But could you kind of clarify?
We mostly look into kids with needs, but that necessarily don't mean we don't take any other kids. We do, but once the referral comes in, that's the screening we do. We go through the referral and see according to the case needs. We might get like 5, 6 referral a day that we have to, and sometimes we reject all 5, 6 referral during the day if they don't fit the need.
And And many of these children who may have profound needs may also have individual medical needs, correct?
That's correct.
Do any of these children require individual nurses or health professionals to come in and assist with medication, G-tube feedings?
Now, once they get to that level, then you are not accepted because the way we run the program. So if you got like a feeding tube and stuff, those are referral that we don't accept because we don't have nurses on ground 24 hours.
And your group home that you currently run in Collindale, could you kind of talk about the profile of the youths that you've accepted there?
We actually bed for 10 kids, but we currently have 4 kids in there. We have 5, and one just got reunited with the grandmom, so we have 4 in there currently. And we have 2 who is mentally disabled, 1 with autism. So that's the group we run now. And with the kids that currently in there, we haven't really have much issue. And a lot of the issue might be argument among themselves, but it haven't really been any issue where we had to actually get somebody out because of their behavior.
And what about students who may have, or children who may have like wraparound services, the in-home behavior? Would in-home behavior specialists be coming to the group home?
Well, a lot of the cases we have is they are outpatients. So if they to go out, we have to transport them. We really haven't have anyone coming in for in-home services or wraparound where they get in 24-hour service in the home.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Solicitor. Mr. Tall, do you have any other witnesses?
No.
Okay.
I know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if the board had any questions for that witness.
Oh, I'm sorry. Board members, anything additional?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I did have just a couple questions if I could.
Go
For
ahead.
that, just to follow up, in regards to the children that were adjudicated delinquent who may be placed at the home, would they also be there possibly with children that were adjudicated dependent?
That's correct.
Is there any sort of prohibition about, I'll call it mixing dependent and delinquent children under Pennsylvania licensure?
Repeat that again?
Sure. Is there any, you're licensed by the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services?
Yes, that's correct.
And that license, does it allow for both dependent children and delinquent children to be placed in the same facility?
That's correct, because we get him all referral through DHS.
And so do you have any children that get placed there who have been released from youth detention centers?
That's correct.
So there may be some of these youths that were adjudicated delinquent, meaning they were for juveniles, we don't convict them of crimes, but we adjudicate them delinquent. So they were found that they had committed certain crimes that would and that were serious enough to send them to youth detention centers. And sort of at the end of their sentences or found to be appropriate, they might be transferred from youth detention centers to this facility.
That's correct.
And they might be there with other children that perhaps were placed because their parents are not able to provide for them and they're waiting for a foster home.
That's correct.
And they would be there. And again, you heard my question before about the children to be adjudicated delinquent. Do you have children that are adjudicated for committing sexual crimes?
Currently not, but yes, I have before.
And again, do you see that there might be an issue placing those types of children next to a middle school of children of the same age?
Possible, yes.
I think that's all the questions I have.
Thanks, Mr. Solicitor.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I thought of a question.
Go right ahead.
The youth residents at the variety of group homes that you have, I understand in the application that it says they may have an extension till the age of 21. What support is given to the youth at the age of 18 if they do not have an extension? What happens? Where do they go?
Well, once you turn 18, there's certain recommendations that you have to, you don't have to be in college, you have to be working, and you have to show all those proof to be able to get a board of extension. So once you turn 18, you decide to go to college, you will stay on a DHS care. If you decide not to go to college, you have to be working because now you're going to be transitioning into a SIL program where you have to live independently.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I don't have a question. I'll just ask if we can keep some of the comments in the background to a minimum. It's very distracting for us up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Solicitor, would,
Yeah, if there's no further questions for this witness, do you have any further witnesses?
Hello. So I would like to elaborate in terms of some of the activities that we do with the youth in the home. So they're not just sitting around all day and not being entertained. So we do a variety of activities with them just so we can lessen the behaviors. We go on field trips, we do group activities, we do cooking, so we can work on their cooking skills, ADLs, we do emotional regulation classes, things to contribute to their development. They go on field trips, they go to festivals, they go to parks, they play basketball. We just got them a YMCA membership just to keep them busy so they're not constantly in the house, especially with them being out of school.
Madam Solicitor, you have any questions for the witness? Mr. Chairman, if appropriate, the board, any questions?
anyone?
Any further
No,
questions?
Mr. Solicitor.
All right. Mr. Tall, is there any further witnesses that you wish to present?
No, sir.
Okay. Any further documents or pictures or anything like that that you wish to present?
No, I know you need the lease agreement. It's something
Yeah,
I'm-
we
I'm
could-
gonna
if you could
send.
submit the lease
I'll email
agreement.
it to John.
That'd be great. So with that, well, we won't close the record. We'll open it for public comment at this time. So if you're going to have public comment, why don't we sort of line
Line up on
up
that wall.
at the podium?
You want me to speak in the mic?
Yeah, so you'll state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Matthew Brown. I live across the street, 225 Wincliffe. I've been there about 30 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
As a resident, my question is, I've heard all the things you've stated. I didn't hear anything that you said. How would you contribute to our local neighborhood? Aside, if someone who doesn't need these services, how are you contributing in any way whatsoever?
Okay, as I indicated earlier, a lot of the communities we are in, we collaborate with the community members. So for example, I talked about Sharon Hill and someone did do a follow-up. We intend to work with the borough. That's one of the first places, with the school system, because there are just several different programs. And I will go back to Sharon Hill, for example. There is I don't know if you ever heard of the Frontability Foundation. So we work very closely with the Frontability Foundation. In fact, recently in November, we hosted a code drive. There is another activity being organized by the Sharon Hill, Folsom, Foldcroft, where they're getting together to have a safe environment. And we are also getting involved in that because we have a lot of children in the street and we want to be able to help. It's our way of giving back. It's part of our corporate social responsibility to be able to give back to the community. So once we come into Clifton Heights, we will definitely find activities here. For example, volunteer fire service. I believe we have a fire department here. So we'll be looking at bringing the children in to understand how the process works. It will help transform some of them. So there are a couple of different things we will do. We'll work with the school system as well because we have children in school. There are recreational programs here. We will take advantage of the resources that we have available.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So my question is, you take your students to the fire department to get acquainted. How does that improve me and my community in any way?
Well, I think the focus here is more of the child. Our goal is to help transform that lifestyle of the child. They have issues coming into placement. Most of them are traumatized. So once they're traumatized, we have to help alleviate some of the issues that they have to deal with. So engaging them in the community helps that. So for example, well,
Or my family, or my neighbors, the kid. Right. Well, my question is regarding myself, not the children. I'm asking regarding the community and your contributions. I've heard them all, how they help the child. You haven't told me anything that would help the local neighbor.
Well,
Grocery store, you can get groceries, bring them up. I see that help there. What would your services to those poor children, or however many at a time, that maybe none of them are mine, none of them from the local neighborhood or have children there, how are you contributing to us in any way?
well, very recently we had a discussion when I met with one of the counties, one of the boroughs, and we were looking at things like community cleanup, for example. It might not impact you directly, but it impacts the community. So those are things we try to do. We talk about food drive for the elderly. It's not going to affect you. You're not one of those in that population. So others might benefit, maybe not you directly. But there are a couple of things that we tend to look into.
And I would assume the staffing would have to change. You take the children outside of the home, there's a lot of issues that can come to staff for children. Just to have a community cleanup, how would that, or something like that?
No, we have other programs.
Specific.
We have other programs.
Okay.
So, for example, we have the children in Colleyville. Sometimes we try to engage them. You know, I always believe in wanting what is said, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. We try to keep them very busy and very engaged. So we can even bring them to the group home, not necessarily into the home, but bring them to join their colleagues to, if we have to do anything that is in reach of the children.
Hi, my name is Andrea Sims. I live 242 Davis Avenue. My question is, what is your protocol when a child elopes? What is your protocol when a child elopes?
And a child what?
Elopes.
No.
Okay.
All right, folks, please.
Once a child elope, first of all, our main goal is the safety of the child. So if the child elope, staff will have to follow you. We got certain distance or certain miles. Once you go past that, we have to call the police.
So I do know that, I used to work in detention and stuff, so that's why my questions are here. I know that with foster care, you can't go after them.
Yes.
Once they leave the doors,
You can,
can't run.
in foster care. Yes.
Correct, but in a group home as
Yes.
well, because now your ratios, because you said I know you dropped down to 3 to 1 because you need to send one out. What do you know
Absolutely.
with the other children in the building? Are you locking them in? Are you, like, what's your protocol?
That's why we have two staffing. So one staff will follow the child. And there's, like I said, there's certain barrier. Once they go past that, we have no option to just get the police involved. Now, that's if the child elopes out, or if, like, the child go on a walk, we have curfew hours. Once they don't shows up, we're not in the community looking for you again. We just report missing person to the police.
So some of your children may be able to go out, no?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and my next question is, what's your level of safe crisis management that you offer?
Well, as far as crisis management, if crises do occur, we have the number to call crisis if we really need to.
No, in your safe crisis management within the prison, like how do you, if a child.
Well,
there's behavior
yeah,
problem.
we actually intend not to perform any restraint because we want staffing. So that's why once a referral comes in, the referral is going to be very strict due to the limit of staffing in the home. So it's not like, okay, we got 2 staff that we're going to just put behavior case in there where 2 staff can manage. So due to that, the referral is being trained to make sure the person we're bringing in, their behavior will line in with the program.
Can you get that microphone over there, please?
My name is Cheryl Bala. I live at 256 Prospect Avenue. I've been a resident of Clifton Heights approximately 50 years. The first information I read in reference to this location, it talked about 8 boys, not 4, and 2 staff members. So if you have an increase in that facility, would there be an increase of staff members? What if there's an issue at school and a student is misbehaving or a student has left the school? Who's going to attend to that? Is one of your staff members going to leave and go to the school if there's an issue? I feel that all the information has been presented here today. I feel like the agency people are chasing their tails. It feels like the training that has been given, nothing has been said about the depth or the amount of time that they've trained. It's just been stated that the training exists. I live on Prospect Avenue, as I've said. I think it's one of the best streets in Clifton Heights. We're a very diversified street. We work well together. And these children are all my children. So that's not what this is about for me. What it's about for me is I'm one of those people who wants to stay here in Clifton Heights, not leave. Clifton Heights has enough of its own children who need us, and we embrace them every day. We don't need more. Thank you.
So can I just clarify something quick?
I want the microphone.
We'll give that to you at the end, you can respond.
It was the
The thing. Well, it's just talking. Do I press anything? Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Sharon. I live at 246 West Wingcliff, 3 doors up. I'm really angry. We've put 42 years into our home. We really love our home. We love our house. We didn't ask for this. And you guys said, it won't happen, but it might happen. And did I get this right? That possibly people that have went into prison or some kind of disciplinary will go to that house? No way. We don't want that. We worked very hard. All these people here are here to this meeting tonight because we don't want this. I really think you guys have to do something for us. I've been here 42 years. That's my husband over there. We worked really hard our whole life. He was a plumber. He worked 35 years at a really hard job. I have 3 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I like kids. I'm a good person. But this cannot happen. That's what I want to say. And I really hope you guys get this right.
What's wrong?
Hi, my name is Shantae. I live at 250 Revere Road. It is the cul-de-sac right behind Wincliff. I have a few questions that I was writing down. Would a supervisor monitor in person each shift to make sure the staff and patients are accounted for each shift, like doing rounds each shift? A supervisor comes and attend the home each shift to make sure everything, and this is for each shift.
Yes.
I used to do this type of work. So when I did this type of work, which wasn't that long ago, typically what I seen was my coworkers were fresh out of high school. They were young graduates who weren't mature enough or capable to monitor these residents who have complex disabilities. They would fall asleep. They would play around with the patients and everything of that sort. What are the qualifications? What are the certifications, not just the training? What are they certified in order to make sure that these are us, we as residents know that they are trained and certified with handling these type of, or people with disabilities? And are we, like, to make sure that the staff is keeping everyone safe in the neighborhood? Like, what is their certification, not just training? Like, are they certified in something?
Well, the requirement is a lot of the staff is going to be certified CPR or first aid, but we provide trainings that they also have to go through in a yearly time. They get trained at least 50 to 52 hours.
I don't mean like medical training. I mean as far as mental and behavior training for the
Yeah, they do go.
residents.
They do go through that training as well, not just first aid and CR certification.
Okay.
No, they do go through mental aid training as well.
Okay. And with this being in a residential area, do you think that the staffing should change to 1-on-1 for each resident that would live in that home instead of 2-to-1 ratio of staff?
Well, that's a good question because sometimes we got cases that comes in on a one-on-one basis. So if we have 3 cases in there with the 2 staff and if the 4th one is a one-on-one, then yes, we will have more than 2 staff in there at a time.
Again, with training, because it hasn't been clarified the type of like training. I guess we would prefer specifics on what they are trained with, and I guess it would be helpful for you to have that guide. But are the staff given monthly trainings, like or weekly training?
Quarterly training.
Quarterly, what
Yes.
is considered a quarterly? Is that 3 months,
3
6
months.
months?
3 months.
Okay. What renovations will happen inside and outside the home to assure the safety of the neighborhood and our young children? Because I have young children in that neighborhood who runs around, and I want to know the renovations that'll be completed. Will there be gates on the windows to stop elopement, or will they be extra security? Like, is there someone who will stand outside the home to make sure that these individuals are not running and or eloping? Like, what is the security measures or renovations that'll be done to the inside and outside of the home? Since it's a row home and it's a residential street, it's not like a building.
Other than the camera, we're not going to be making no change to the home.
Only cameras? Okay. And I guess, this question goes for the borough with knowing that there won't be any extra security inside and outside the home, where there will be extra police patrol now that we know, if this gets approved, if we know that they have children or up to an adult now that we found out, will there be extra patrol of police in the area?
That's a great question. We're just the zoning board, but that'd be a question for Borough Council.
Yeah.
Okay. Why was a row home chosen instead of a building?
Well, that's the facility that we had and we had available. And we immediately applied for a license for that home since we had it.
So the home was bought with the intentions of it becoming a facility?
Not initially, no.
So why did it change from being brought as a home to a facility?
The reason is,
Clifton Heights has a lot of empty, like vacant buildings that could have been turned into. Why specifically a row home in a crammed, area with a school that is now going to cause more chaos? I'm sorry.
well, we purchased the building initially.
The home?
The home. And we had families living in, and they left, and it became vacant. And there was a need based on the census from the Department of Human Services on the need for placements, and we already have a license. So we assume it was a right fit that we could transform that home into a group home facility to service youth in the community that need the kind of service that we provide.
I don't know what the square footage, and I have 3 children of my own inside the home, and we're crammed together. I can't imagine 4 children and 2 other adults, up to 4 other adults being crammed into the home. So I'm just curious why a row home.
I think there's enough space in that home. We have a basement that is complete.
I know, I've seen the pictures. I went on the website.
I'm sorry, Mr. Toll. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you could keep your conversation to a minimum, it is very difficult to hear the testimonies. Thank you so much.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Adriana Spatola, I'm at 231 West Glen Cliff. I guess my question is, if you're gonna have kids who could be there as juveniles, state and federal mandate is 1,000 feet from school, no drug zone, especially a no drug school. How are you going to be able to protect that, to make sure that these kids are not getting high and causing ruckus in front of a school that is now $1 million school that is now going to house 600 to 700 kids? And I've lived on that block for 22 years, and this is the first time in about 21 of those years that we have the most kids playing on it. So how can you protect the kids that are going to go to that school, the kids that are going to be playing football out there, the kids that are going to be playing baseball out there, trying to get on the bus? So, because not only do you have the new school, but you have 2 other schools within a half a mile. So how are you going to be able to make sure that those children are protected from the possible juveniles that you have coming in?
Well, I think one thing we need to recognize here is that the youth in the home are also school-going youth. They're going to be attending school within the community. They're going to interact with these children in the community. If they get to the school, we have absolutely no control what to do in the school setting. But at the end of the day, they have to come home, and once they come home, we provide all of the necessary measures that we need to provide to have them supervised.
I guess you still didn't answer my question, because it's not what they're doing in school. It's what are you going to do about it if they come home that way? Like, how are you going to protect the rest of the neighborhood and the rest of the kids with your children that are in that home if they're coming home high? Like, or if they're coming home and being disruptive? Like, how are you going to protect the kid across the street?
If they are disruptive, we have protocols in place that we can implement. For example, if they are uncontrollable, number one, and we see they are in crisis, we're definitely going to call the crisis center. Crisis center gets involved, and the crisis center will take them away. That's one of the many ways. We know also police are sometimes involved. Neighbors will sometimes call 911 if that happens, and we have police involvement, and we have the police to control it. But within the home, we have supervision. Like we said, during the day, we have 3 staff actually, because it's 2 per shift. But during the day, we have the residential manager who is present on site all day and handles every other operational activities for the children until they get home before curfew, before he leaves. So,
And is there a reason why you don't have any, like, you state autistic kids? Is there a reason why you don't have like a BCBA or a BT as part of the people who are watching them to be able to handle them, which is like a certification for autism, or so that they know how to handle them? Because if you have an 18-year-old kid who's big and you have a high school child there watching them, which is what you stated, like your claims are 18, or that's what Google says, they're high school students who are coming in now to watch. How are they going to handle that?
high school student coming in to watch.
Yeah, they're post high school, so they're like 18, 19-year-olds who are going to be watching these kids, which is part of what your
I think it was one of your colleagues that indicated how co-workers were high school graduates. We screen the employees that we hire,
Yeah,
and
you
we
train
do
them
not
make
take.
sure they don't have criminal background.
No, not only that, we will not take kids to place with kids. So we do not hire 18 years old. Someone else mentioned that.
But there's no BCBA, BT training. BCBA is for autism.
No.
Okay, thank you.
You may have already, my name is Tina Wiley. I live on South Penn Street. You may have already answered, but I just want clarification. Most of these kids that you're bringing in here is from the Philadelphia County, correct?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
No. Sometimes
Okay.
we have kids from Delaware County as well. We have kids as well.
Because you stated that you was not able to contract with Delaware County.
No. What happened is that once a CPS report is made and they are in Philadelphia County, we receive them. If they are in Somerset County and we have placement available, we will select them from Philadelphia. Almost, we've had children from as far as Luzerne County and Clarion County as well.
Okay, so basically bringing these children from these
Different
other counties into Delaware County, you're then going to integrate them into our school district temporarily for however many months. Okay, then they're getting pulled back into whatever foster care or wherever, which could be in another county. How does that help the children when they're jumping from here, there, and everywhere?
Well, our goal is to provide a stable environment for the child.
Yeah, but it's only temporarily. So
Well-
how are you changing, making it that stable when they're going from, and that's just from Philadelphia County, they're in the school district, okay? You bring them, they get sent through the program, they get sent to the group home somewhere out here in Delaware County. You then now transfer them to Delaware County School District, okay? Where they now have to go through the process of being integrated into a totally different school district, totally different classroom, and with kids who may have behavioral problems already. Okay? Then, let's say, for example, they're only here 3 months. Then all of a sudden they get transferred back to either Philadelphia County or another county into the foster care or whatever, which is another different school district they have to get reintegrated into.
You see, in many cases, we don't necessarily have control of the placement. When the placement comes in through DHS, we only do the review of the referral, and I'll talk about referral again, to assess if the child is a good fit for that home. There are instances once the child is placed, the court system is involved. Sometimes the court demands that a child is removed from the home, from the group home, into a foster home or kinship home. So we sometimes don't have that leverage. We don't have the control over how the child is moved.
But also, is it a real good stability then? If they're jumping around from here, there, and everywhere. We're talking about children here who, like it says, already in a situation traumatized because they had been pulled out of their home.
We
And
understand.
you're going to traumatize them more by jumping them around here, there, and everywhere. I don't see that it's a good fit.
My name is Tony Tumalo. I live at 12 West Windcliff. I don't know where to start. First, in your opening statement.
Tony, can you talk into the microphone?
In your opening statement, you mentioned autistic children, Down syndrome children, children with learning disabilities. Never once did you mention that there were children who weren't disabled, children who would be coming from detention centers, children with sexual abuse histories, with violent histories. None of this was brought up until questions were asked by the solicitor and John McLean and the zoning board. Now, I feel like we're being led on. What questions haven't we asked that we're going to find out the answers to with this up our street? Are these kids, you're saying that they have all these organized activities, are they ever allowed out of the house unsupervised, play with the neighborhood kids? Answer?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
No. No, you're talking about children with sexual abuse histories, with violence histories from detention centers, and well, we'll call the police. Well, you know how much that police call costs us, the taxpayers of Clifton Heights? Do you know how much adding a number of autistic children into our schools adds to our school tax bill? Now, all you're considering is what you're going to do for these children. You are not considering the parents, the children, the grandparents, the people that live in Clifton Heights, that live on this street. I'll tell you what, we've been through enough, and I'm very angry with this school being put in there and all the things that we've had to go through because of it. And now you want to add this on top of our problems. I'm done. No. It's not happening.
My name is Melissa Winter. I live at 7 West Windcliff. I know that you
Folks, please.
mentioned that when the kids, I'll call them adults, when they turn 18, they have to be in either college or have a job. If age 18 is the age of majority, what's stopping them from telling or leaving the house and not adhering to what your house parent says? Or, I mean, they're 18, they're an adult, they can technically leave anytime they want. Again, it's going to be near middle school. I don't think it's wise to have adults who may have been in a facility or something like that with behavioral problems like that to be near our middle school and near our elementary school, which is just around the corner. And in your presentation, you mentioned that there would be kids with cerebral palsy, autism, those types of things. A lot of times they need walkers or assistive devices to help them get around. Are you going to change the stairs or make a ramp, or how do they get in and out of the house?
Once approved, we have to make that adjustment. But until that, we can incur any additional cost for now.
Thank you.
Suzanne Brittis, 319 Austin Drive. Just to clarify, the profile of the child who might be in this facility is rather flexible, correct? So the needs of the child would be pretty flexible. Like it could change from like month to month what the needs are of the children in the facility, correct?
Yeah, it will change once some child might come in, might be there for a month, because the goal here is to reunify the kids with the parents or get placed into a foster care. Not necessarily they have to stay in the group. So yes, it might change.
Okay. And so while they're in your care, you guys are obligated to meet all of their needs, correct?
That's correct.
So when you say that the staffing ratio is 2 at a time with perhaps an occasional caseworker or someone visiting the child, that could change depending on who is in the facility at that time. So if a child requires ABA services, you might need a BCBA. You might need a TSS worker. You might need other interventionists to come to the home depending on the needs of that particular child, correct?
No, we don't have no TSS worker coming through the house.
But if the child requires that.
The services that provided is always going to be outpatient services that provided to them.
So you're saying you will not admit any children that do not require anything beyond outpatient services into the home? Is that what you're?
It's always outpatient case that we serve.
Because this is a very densely populated and the parking is a big issue for the residents. So if we are introducing situations where the needs of a child is going to specify to have specific staff in order to accommodate their needs and provide what's necessary. So you're saying through the referral process, you're going to deny anybody that needs any type of in-home service.
Yeah, a lot of time we provide outpatient in-home services. Other than the staff, everything else is outpatient.
So outpatient only is the profile. Okay, but some of the disabilities that you listed in your presentation are pretty profound and would require home-based services.
Well, with some of the services, these are the services we provide. And don't necessarily mean all the kids in there going to be the kids that the service is going to provide, but that's what we provide. So when the referral comes in, we look through the referral. We're not going to deny the child because he has autism. We're not going to deny the child because he has cerebral palsy. But these are the services we provide. And not necessarily, if we got a child that comes in that don't have cerebral palsy, we're still going to accept you. And if a child comes in that do have cerebral palsy, we're not going to say, oh, because he has cerebral palsy, so we can't serve his needs.
So we would just like to clarify that majority of our children in our care are on medication to stabilize their moods. So no, they don't have a BC or BCBA, but they do have a psychiatrist. They have therapists that they go see. And if they need any further
So they-
resources or services, that's something that case managers can set up for them.
So basically, they're not provided behavior training. So if you have certain disabilities and you need to be explicitly taught certain skills, they won't receive that. You just give them medication. Is that what you're saying?
No, it depends on the need of the child. So if it's specific to them and that they need someone to come in the home to provide those needs, we're more than open to do that.
So basically, there would be the possibility that we would need additional staff depending on the profile of the child who's in the home at that time.
If it's a one-on-one, correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hi, my name's Patrick. I live next door at 238 West Wincliffe. I just have a question on your parking. Can you clarify what you meant by, the parking in the driveway, but also directly behind in the back? Can you speak a little bit more on that?
So what I indicated, we have a carport. We can have a car parked directly in front of the carport, which does not disrupt the movement of cars in that area.
I've actually had that issue before already, where there was a moving truck at the other end. I was coming down and you've had a car parked there right in front of the vehicle. And with my truck, I couldn't get around. Also, I've had the issue where across the alley, I have this grass where whoever the residents were, in the meantime, were parking there. So I just wanted to clarify, you can't really get around there, especially with somebody parked in the driveway behind you guys on the other side.
I remember that incident.
Yeah.
But it was, we were moving things at the time. That's why a bigger truck was parked. A regular vehicle parked does not disrupt.
Well, the moving vehicle was down the street, so I couldn't go around the other side. I had to wait. Is your wife Linda?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had to call Linda to see if somebody could come down and move the car, which somebody did. But, like in the future, is that like where you guys plan to, like when you're saying temporary parking, park there? Because vehicles can't get around there. There's another house behind you where there's the driveway. And it's tight to begin with, like people have stated, the parking's tight. Like, is that just your plan to park there?
Well, we've tried it before. And like I said, it was unfortunate at the time they were moving into the home. And that's why we had that issue. I think since then we haven't had any issues with parking issues.
I get that, but like you're saying when you're going from worker to worker, and that's a spot that you're considering parking, that's going to be an issue going forward. You know what I mean? That's just my point.
Thank you.
Karen Peterson, 245 Revere Road. Just a statement. When a group home is a single family dwelling, it doesn't easily or immediately impact the next door neighbor. This area of row homes is in a family community, which will be impacted. As a business, a commercial enterprise, this changes the dynamics of the area. Remaining residential is important to the immediate residents and the taxpayers.
John Gorman, 409 North Oak Avenue, Clifton. I just have a couple of statements from my fellow residents and the board. These houses were built 1948, 1949. They were built as single-family dwellings, not group homes. Parking is at all-time high. When I was a kid and got my first car in 75, we didn't have that problem because not everybody had cars. Not everybody had 3 and 4 cars to a residence. Now we have that. That whole neighborhood is parking compromised, if you will. It's tough to find spots. What kind of impact on our emergency services is this facility going to have? Police, fire, EMS. How is this going to add to their already overburdened caseload? I have one question, and this was given to me and found on matter of public record. You're tax delinquent in Collingdale. Is that something you plan on Clifton Heights?
We are not. Nope.
No, it's a matter of public record. It's on the site.
We've never been.
So, I urge the board for a no vote. Thank you.
Hi, Devin Russo, 223 Wincliffe. You mentioned medication, and you also mentioned that you don't have any medical staff on the staff. Who on the staff is trained to administer medication, and what certification do they have?
Every staff that works within your home is med certified.
Sorry,
Every staff is med certified.
they are.
They are med certified, yes. Medication certification, yes. That's part of our policy.
Awesome. Other than that, I actually have some experience with group homes in residential neighborhoods, and I would just like to state my opinion after that experience. Residential neighborhoods are not the correct area for that type of thing to be going on. They're not right for the kids that are involved that need the help. They're not right for the kids that are playing safely in their neighborhood right now. I would not personally feel safe with this going on. And I know there are a lot of kids that play on my street, and I love to see them outside. And I don't think, anybody wants to see any of those kids get hurt either. I think there's also some unfortunate, suspicious activity that has gone on in the neighborhood at the hands of some young adults in the neighborhood. My husband and I had our cars vandalized in the past 6 months, both back windshields cracked with a 2x4, caught on video by, the neighbors. So I don't think we need to add to that. And I'll leave it at that.
My name is Mike Verricchio, 223 West Wincliffe Ave. I don't really have anything to say at this point. This isn't good for the neighbors, and this isn't good for the brand new schools you guys just built. And I think everyone agrees on that. I'm just going to close it out with that.
Hi, Rusty Fernando, 35 West Wincliffe. Are you actually putting special needs children in with juvenile delinquents in that house? That's what I'm understanding.
It depends. Some of the kids that's going to come in going to be special needs, and some of the kids not.
Okay, so.
It depends on which referral we got. Now, that's our call. If we decide all the kids in there is going to be special need kids, then they cannot be placed with delinquent kids. But as far as the service we provide for delinquents and kids with disability.
In the same dwelling?
Well, if necessary.
That's not a good idea. Okay. What, I did not hear you say, what is the educational protocol for the special needs children? Where do they go? Do they go to our schools, or is it an online charter school?
Well, that once the kids get placed, there's a bid meeting, and the bid meeting decides what school district or what schools they attend. Depends on the person. If it is a special need case, like I have one now that goes to Delco. He's a special need. He attend Delco.
What's his special need?
He has autism, so he attend Delco Academy. So it depends. That is not our call. That's the call that made by the bid meeting that get the school district involved. So they will decide and determine what's the best fit for that education program.
Who pays for that?
All of that is the education department. The education department makes that call, not us. Because that's why we have a bid meeting, and the bid meeting involves the school district as well. So it's just not us having a meeting, it involves the school district.
Well, I think that we should provide these autistic children with a special needs charter school. For example, there is Agora in the state of Pennsylvania. which, because our schools, I don't think that the taxpayers should have to pay any taxes for your children. And I already know that that's what's going to happen. Is the state paying for this? Or the local taxpayers?
Now, just to get something clear on that, let's say we get a case that comes in that even need to be transported, even if they live, like I have one that came from Philadelphia, living in Carlindale, but he was in Carlindale, paying for the school, for the transportation services, while Philadelphia paying for the transportation service. He was being transported to school because he had autism, but he wasn't Carlindale district that was paying for it. It was Philadelphia district that was paying for the transportation that was provided for him. So we need to get that part clear. That's why the meeting is being held with the school board. The district is involved with Philadelphia. So if the child is to be transported, if Carlindale say, well, the child can fit within our school district, they got to be transported to another school district. It's not Carlindale that pays for that, it's Philadelphia. Yes.
Okay. Not real happy with this, to be honest with you.
Elaine McLaughlin, 249 Revere Road.
Here, speak up louder.
Elaine McLaughlin, 249 Revere Road. Does this work?
Yes. Go ahead.
I have a question. It may sound stupid, but who bought this house? Who sold the house and who bought the house, and how come it's turning into a group home? How did that all happen? Anybody?
Ma'am, this gentleman bought the house.
You bought the house.
Yes.
And then you want to turn it into a group home. But you didn't say that when you bought the house.
No, but I subsequently got a rental permit. So the house is being rented to the agency.
So now it's not your house, you're renting it to this agency.
It's my house.
I'm
But it's been
confused.
rented to the agency. I do not own the agency. I work for the agency.
Is anybody else confused by this?
No.
I understand. You rented the house after you bought it, you rented it out to these people.
Yes.
It's a row home. I don't agree with this. It sounds shady.
Folks, please.
Like, this is.
Come on, folks.
And my name is Chris Cole. I live on 21 West Wincliffe Avenue. Listen, you know something? This is just not a fit, man, for Wincliffe Avenue. You know what I mean? It's a residential neighborhood with residential people who pay residential taxes. You know what I mean? And as you can see, it's just not a fit for Wincliffe. You know what I mean? No, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Didn't she already speak?
Yes. Cheryl Baylor again, Prospect Avenue. This is a prime example for me of something I've been trying to make a change with, and I've been told we can't do for many, many years. We have over 37% of rental properties in Clifton Heights, and that's something that needs to be changed as well. We do not need any more rental properties. The other thing is, why are we bringing children in from Philadelphia with these special needs? Why aren't they dealing with them in Philadelphia? Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, if there's no further public comment, is there any additional evidence that the applicant wishes to present at this time?
No, sir.
Right, and for the borough, anything further?
Statements keep changing. The record itself is unclear. The borough would request a no vote on this application strictly based on evidence presented. They've not met their burden of proof.
So with that, we'll admit exhibits A1, which is the slideshow, and A2, which would be the lease agreement that would be sent in, as well as exhibits B1 through B3. And the board may close the record at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. At this time, the board will take a 10-minute recess.
sure to turn your microphones back on.
I just hit it.
Everybody ready? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to reconvene the June 23rd Clifton Heights Borough Zoning Hearing Board meeting. With that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our solicitor, John McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the board, again, there's what we've, even though the application was not as specific, we've characterized it as there's two requests that are being made to the board here tonight. Number one, a variance from what is permitted to be used in the R2 district, which is a single family house. So it would be the burden of the applicant to meet the requirements for a variance as set forth by Pennsylvania law. And just in summary, there's 5 requirements that have to be met in order to establish a variance. Number one, that there are unique physical circumstances or conditions, something about the lot, the size or the shape that is somehow exceptional, and other physical conditions peculiar to the property, and that the unnecessary hardship is due to such conditions and not the circumstances of the conditions generally created by the zoning district. So there's got to be something unusual about the property that prohibits it from being used as is authorized by the ordinance. Number two, that because of such physical circumstances or conditions, there's no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning ordinance. So again, here, single family home is one of the things the applicant would need to show the board that there's no way that they can use it as a single family home. Number three, that such unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant. Number four, that the variance, if authorized, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the property is located, nor substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, nor be detrimental to the public welfare. So it would be the burden of the applicant to convince the board that this use would not in any way be detrimental to the neighborhood. And then finally, number five, that the variance, if authorized, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and will represent the least modification possible of the regulation in issue. So those are the standards under Pennsylvania law that apply to every municipality in Pennsylvania that an applicant has to prove to the board in order to be entitled to a variance. So that's the first thing that they're asking for. The second thing, Clifton Heights does have a provision for community residence facilities under the zoning ordinance. Again, if you meet certain standards, and there are 12 standards that are set out here. I won't go through and read all of them, but there are provisions in here such as parking, that the parking needs to have, you need to have as many off-street parking spaces as the highest number of staff that's there at any one time, plus one space for every 4 residents. So here, I think we heard that during the day, there would be 3 staff members there, 2 plus the supervisor, and then 1 for the residents. So that would be required that there would be 4 off-street parking spaces. And again, there are other requirements such as the planted buffer along the side and rear lot lines of the community residence facility, and that it is applicable, that it's aimed at family-based community residence facilities. So the job of the zoning hearing board is to determine, did they prove a variance in the R2 district? And did they meet the standards to find that this could operate as a community residence facility? So that's the question that you have before you at this point, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. So I'll ask the board for a determination or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to deny the application based on a lack of evidence on the burden of the variance exception.
Do I have a second on that?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? No. Okay. So unfortunately, the application has been denied at this time. Thank you for making the application. And votes, please.
So, Mr. Chairman, we'll send out written notice to the applicant. We mail that tomorrow, and that will be, once we get the transcript prepared, full findings of fact and conclusions of law will be prepared and sent to you on that.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this will, or can I get a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion to second.
First, second, all in favor, aye.
Yeah.